Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Midweek Mindset. So the question today is, what's it worth to you? Well, what do you mean, what's it worth to you? Well, maybe we hear that question at a garage sale or an auction or something where someone's negotiating back and forth and bartering over something and say, well, what's it worth to you, right? And trying to figure out a price for a material thing. Sometimes we hear that question as it relates to other things, maybe a promotion or a chance for advancement, right? What's it worth to you? Is it, you're going to make more money, you do something, but is it worth giving up time with your family? Is it worth setting aside some of the things that you enjoy doing maybe for a while and committing some longer hours to learn a new position and grow in that? Sometimes it becomes things like, what's it worth to you? And they're talking about personal things, your integrity. Is it worth giving that up? Whatever the case is, the question, what's it worth to you? Well, we have been going through Hebrews chapter 11 for the last several weeks. Hebrews chapter 11 is the Faith Hall of Fame, describing the faith of some of the great patriarchs and matriarchs of the Old Testament along the way. And we have seen that faith defined and given examples of it in a variety of ways. As belief and trust, as commitment, as certainty, those different aspects of faith. Well, this week it's about humility. It's about humility. It's about giving up, surrendering some things, and in that we see faith. And so we are down to verse 24, and we're talking about Moses. We've talked to him a little bit earlier in previous weeks, but this is a different aspect. This is his life as an adult. And beginning in verse 24, it says, "By faith Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a short time. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered, because he saw him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, so that this destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel." Moses gave up a lot of worldly things. He gave up a position as a prince of Egypt. He gave up the power that comes with that of controlling the armies and having great power over a large number of people. He gave up a lot of wealth. All of those things he set aside in his humility. He humbled himself before God, setting aside those things. That's what it cost him in worldly things. It cost him that power and position and wealth. And he set those things aside to follow God in faith. Those are some of the things that he gave up. That's the question about, are we willing to humble ourselves, to trust God, to follow him in faith? Are we willing to follow him in such a way? And so that's the question for you this week. What's it worth to you? What's it worth to you to follow Jesus Christ? What's it worth to you to share Christ, to be his hands and feet to those around us, to minister and care for other people, to give up some of the things that we want to do, to think more, as Paul says, to think more about others than we think about ourselves, to care more about their needs than we care about our needs? What's it worth to you to live a life of faith?